Well, g'day, Max here again. Welcome back to the shop. Well, predominantly this episode's supposed to be about us grinding our arbors, which we'll get there. We just have to do a little job on the tool and cutter grinder, so we'll cover that one. And we also had a bit of a mail come in from Canada. Now that's sticker from Chris at Just One Guy Metalworks. He's got quite an interesting project going on at the moment. He's building a taper turning attachment for his Atlas lathe, I think it is. So it's all the milling. The guy doesn't own a milling machine, so he's doing it all on the attachment on the lathe, the milling attachment, which is a vertical slide. You put your part in. He's doing a really good job of it. It's well worth having a look. Yeah, nice job on the dovetail he's just done as well. So yeah, go and check his channel out. Now, we've got a few other things going on with the mill, and we've got a little job to do on the tool and cutter grinder. And we did get out to the block. We started to make some progress, but we're battling with that big storm at the moment. All this weather's come over from the northern hemisphere, and it's really hammered us with rain over here. We normally in Perth here we don't get that much rain. Well, rain's not too much of an issue this time of year. You get a little bit here and there, but I mean that's why I took time off now so I could hook in and make some, leaps and bounds on the progress of the new shop. But yeah, it's a battle. It's a battle, and of course Emma's tool making competition. Well, I don't even know if I'm going to get an entry into that, so we'll see how we go, but no promises there. So anyway, we'll swing over and we'll show you where we're at with the little job we had to do on the mill. So this all started with me going down the hardware store, getting a container of kerosene so I can give the mill a good clean up. Okay, so we've got the table off and the saddle off. Now we had to repair a couple of the lines off the central oiling system, which actually run underneath the table, in between the table and the saddle. So these are these lines here. So a couple of those we had to do repairs on, so I'll replace some of those. And you've got to pull the table off to get access to it all, so I've got a lot of milling coming up with this machine, so and it's a job I've been putting off for a long time, so I thought we'd do it now. And it's also a good opportunity to clean out the cesspool of inside the knee. So there's a fair old amount of crap and gunk. I mean, this oil pipe here is supposed to lubricate all this gear, and it was just like a big thick daub of grease on top of it, so we've cleaned all that off. And it's a good opportunity too to give all the gibs, pull all the gibs out, have a bit of an inspection, just to see what we're up against for in the future. But everything's looking okay. I mean, there's wear on the machine, but that's to be expected for its age. Yeah, so that's the main thing. We don't have to do any repairs bar these oil tubes, so that's a good thing. On our tool post grinder here, we normally run a 3-inch wheel. For this job I want to run a 4-inch wheel, for reasons I'll explain once we start grinding. Now this is my guard for the 3-inch wheel, but of course it's too small for a 4-inch wheel, so don't ever run a grinder, don't ever run these things without a guard on. It's absolute madness. If anything happens to that wheel, your safety glasses ain't going to stop it. Might deflect a few bits, but don't do it. It's not a smart thing. So we have to make a guard up. So what I've got is the top off an old fire extinguisher, figuring, well, it's a pretty close match to sort of the shape we're heading for. So, and it fits over the wheel. So that'll go on like that. So all we have to do is cut this out or bore it out or weld a slightly bigger hub on with a locking screw and then cut a portion of it away. Boom, instant guard. So I'll get that done and then we'll get into some grinding. But first we'll swing you around to the sticker board. Well, there you are, Chris, you're surrounded by some pretty good company there. So if you're not on there and wish to be on there, just flick us an email. It's in the description of the channel. So we've got a little bit more room left in the corner down there for a couple more. But yeah, Chris's channel, it is well worth checking out, especially this build he's doing on this taper turning attachment for his lathe. He's doing a proper job, you know, with the two-piece screw for the cross slide, you know, so he's following the right train of thought. And of course there's our one there. Okay, we better go do some work, eh? So we'll just nip our wheel up. That's it, that's all it takes. Now, we have to just, with this grinder here, I normally just put a couple of drops of oil in the spindle housing. And there's just a little filler plug on the top here. If I can get it out. Then I just use some very light oil in there. This auto trans fluid. It's the lightest stuff that I'd probably have around lying around the place. Just a little bit in the cap and back of a paintbrush, make sure it's clean. And I just dab a few drops every time I use it. In the hole. Okay, that should be alright. So we put our screw back in. And realign our spindle. Looks pretty good there. So these locking screws here, just nip them down and that will lock the spindle into position. Okay, put our guard back on and we'll dress the wheel up. Okay, I've just slipped the wooden board in position. Just in the event this wheel does let go, it's not going to hit any of the ways on the lathe, so it's just a little precaution. We'll switch her on and walk away. Okay, well everything's looking alright there. Yeah, so the other thing is always check the RPM, the max RPM. It will always be written on the blotting paper on the information area on the side of the wheel. And then I'll always check, because this is a 2-speed grinder, and I'll do the same with my other grinders, my air grinder as well. And I'll just measure the RPM the grinder's running at to make sure we're not exceeding the RPM of the wheel. If you do, you're just leaving yourself wide open to a wheel exploding. But, normally I'll do it while I've got this guard off because I'll access it from the other side there. So, but just a small but very important thing to take note of: don't exceed the RPM rating of your wheel. There's a lot of home guys building small grinders and all that sort of thing actually at the moment, and it's something they need to take note of, just to be aware of. Same with the guard. This is a guard that I made up out of a fire extinguisher. You can't run these. It's madness to run a wheel without a guard on. So we're ready to dress our wheel now. So we've got a whole array of rags covering up our machine, which is a must when you're dressing a wheel. Is the grinding dust. It just goes everywhere. We've got our vacuum cleaner nozzle just directly under the diamond dresser, and what we're going to do, we're going to dress the front first, and then we'll reset up the dresser and we'll dress the sides of the wheel. Dressing the sides will just help in balance with the wheel. So it's really the only way you can balance these wheels, as they're not set up on individual hubs. Might be something I could look at one day, a future project. So here we go. Okay, this one here will be the first cab off the rank. So we've got a heap of rags laid down covering the bed of the lathe, and also underneath the bed in the chip pan, just to filter out any of the grinding media and bits and pieces. So we're just going to have to experiment now with our feeds and speeds, and we'll see how we're looking. That finish is quite acceptable for a rough grind. A fair bit to come off it. She's obviously moved a little bit in the heat treatment, but see how we go. Okay, this is our second arbor. We're getting quite a good finish. It's quite an acceptable finish for a tall post grinder, but I can get a better finish with my finishing wheel. And as we're still in the roughing stages, I've still got 5 thou to come off this one. I thought we'll try, this is our wheel that we were using. Now this isn't really the recommended wheel for what we're doing, but it does leave quite a reasonable finish, but it's not a good roughing wheel. We'll go to something like this. Now I've had mixed results with this wheel before, so we'll see how it goes on this material roughing it down. It might rough it down a bit quicker than this wheel here. This is a green wheel. It's more suited to really hard stuff and carbides and that. So we'll give this one a shot. But as we've mentioned before, when we've played with our tool post grinder, there's a lot of variables come into play depending on which machine, how rigid your machine is and your setup. So for this one, for my setup, it's a lot of trial and error between trying different wheels till you get good results. But we do have a good wheel. The wheel that we're going to use to finish grind, oops, is this one here. It's a 9A60J, and that does give good results for a finished grind. So anyway, we'll get this one on and we'll just see how it goes. Okay, with that wheel on, we've lost our surface finish. That's gone to pot, but it's ripped the material off quite quick. So we only have 2.5 thou to go now to finish size on this one. So I think we'll run the rest of them through like this, and then we'll put our finish wheel on. So it's a bit hard to see the differences in finish between the two wheels on the camera. This first one was done with that first green wheel, and this one here was done with the wheel we presently have on. Now I'd call this more of the Chinesium finish compared to the high quality finish, and you feel it with your fingernail, you can hear it. My fingernail doesn't grab anything there. We go to this one, I can feel it, you can probably hear it. Go back to this one. Yeah, definite difference. But like I said, we're just roughing them down to size for now before we finish them. You can see all the grinding dust that gets caught. So what you got to do, every now and then I'll have a check under here to make sure none of this is going through onto the ways. It works as quite a good filter for stuff here. Now this stuff will just eat your lathe alive if it gets into everything. You know, it gets under your saddle and all that. It'll stay there till you pull the saddle off and clean it out. So you got to take extra precautions. This is the last one, so we'll get this one roughed out and then we'll move on to the next part. Well, this one here, our last one, I don't know if we're going to be able to save this one. It's got a hell of a woof in it. Watch this. It's running through here. It's running through up the end there, and in the middle here. Get a better look at it. More woof in that than a Queensland banana. We'll carry on with it and we'll see what happens. I don't think we're going to get the clean up. We'll be fine here, that's just decorative there, and we'll be fine there, but it's the taper that worries me. I don't think we're going to get a clean up on that one, so but we'll push on with it. Well, I've just pulled the covers off now because it's coming to the end of the day, so we'll just have a quick inspection with our fingers. and nothing's got through, so no, very happy with that. So we're all in the clear there. So I've pulled all the rags up. We had all rags sitting in the bottom to filter the coolant as well. So when you are in a situation, I got caught out once before, always pull your rags and covers off at the end of the day, because if you leave them on and they're damp with the coolant, you'll get corrosion forming on your machine. So we're all in the clear there. Now that other arbor we were just grinding, we'll swing around, I'll go and grab that one. That's right on size, that's right on finished size. This is this bent one. You can see there we've got an area that didn't clean up. So we'll put it back in, we'll continue on with this one, and we'll see how the rest of it comes up, because if it's only that section, we can grind this section here undersize and save it. She'll probably end up a paperweight. So, there you have it.